Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, Jay. A little bit change of course. I wanted to talk a little bit about this incident that happened a couple of days ago regarding Wendy Williams and the dead and a famous TikToker that passed away named Swavy, aka Babyface S. So this guy Swavy was a famous TikToker. He did a lot of dancing. He had millions of views and millions of followers on TikTok and Instagram as well. He was a sensation around social media. So Wendy Williams is doing her Hot Topic show. I believe it was on a Thursday, and she basically poses the question to the people on her show. Well, who is this guy Swavy? She doesn't know who he is. Now, Wendy Williams is of a different generation. She's a lot older than his target demographic. But when you are a when you are a media personality and you present yourself as the queen of all media, you should at least have yourself or should have somebody around you at least do the research on who the young man was. This young man was his real name was Matima Miller. He was from Delaware, Southbridge, Delaware, the same state as President Biden, and he was fatally shot. Now, I'm not going to sit here myself and pretend that I even knew who he was either. But after I saw this, and after Lisa told me to cover this story, I did the responsible thing that any person, any social media influencer, and especially somebody like Wendy Williams, who was on television, who has this big platform, should do. And I researched him, and I researched some of his videos on TikTok, watched some of his videos, some of his material on TikTok, and to see why he was such an influence with a lot of the young people. And that's what Wendy Williams should have done. Because, or if you're not going to do that, don't report on it. Don't speak about it. If you don't know who the person is, why even speak about it? Because when you don't do the research and you just post about it, you openly say you don't know who the guy is, and you just want to disrespect him, what you come off as somebody just searching for clout. She even admits in the video that he has more followers on social media than she does. And then the cameraman in the video says no, but he only has more followers on Instagram. I mean, on TikTok, you have more followers on Instagram to soothe Wendy's ego. Because basically what she's doing is a lot like what the mainstream media did when Tupac and Biggie died, especially Tupac. When Tupac and Biggie died, the mainstream media acted like it was no big deal. They mispronounced his name. They said they misspoke about his life and his impact with the youth. They didn't sympathize nor empathize with his death. And it was left up to the hip hop media and the urban media to really cover him as he should be covered. But my feeling is, as the old adage goes, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. If not, you think you come off as a clout chaser. You feel like it's almost like you're doing this video just so that people could get you likes, views, and subscriptions. You don't know who the man is. You have no idea why he is so impactful to the youth. And and what makes it even worse, say you don't know who he is. You can still research him and use this as an opportunity to speak against gun violence in the world. You could say, well, I didn't know who the young man was, but um, I will use my platform to speak against gun violence, which is a very important topic that, irrespective if you knew who he was, you can use his death as a reminder of why we need to end gun violence in the community. His friend, another TikToker, was so broken up about it that he was crying. He, he was crying. The friend was crying on YouTube because of the death of this young man. And Lisa says after she compared her following to his, she said he passed away. Yeah, it came off. It came off Lisa as shade. Like she's upset, and this is the thing with traditional media versus social media. A lot of people in traditional media, and when I say traditional media, I'm talking about television and radio. A lot of them don't feel like social media influencers and social media celebrities are real celebrities. You know, people here on social media, people with on TikTok, people on not so much Facebook, but TikTok, Instagram Live, and YouTube. They kind of look down their noses at us. You know what I mean? This they say that well, we're not real celebrities. We don't have real followers. We don't have people that love and care about us, and they don't take us serious. They feel like they are sponsored. They are sponsored by a multimedia conglomerate, Viacom or whatever. Um, well, Wendy is on. Lisa, isn't Wendy on Fox? I don't watch Wendy's show, so Lisa would know this more than I would. Um, but she's not the only one. She's the one we're talking about in this video. But um, okay, she's on Fox. They're owned by Disney, and they're a multimedia corporation. So um, she's like all of them. They all feel this way. They feel like we're social media. We're just for fun. We're just for kicks. We don't really matter. We don't really influence the world. The social media, YouTubers or TikTokers or people like that, or rappers on SoundCloud, even the rap in the rap community, they feel the same way. They feel like people on the internet, uh, SoundCloud rappers, as they call them, contemptuously looking down their noses at them, feel like they ain't shit. You know, you know what I mean? Like, who are they? I never even heard of them. That's the way they feel because we don't have billions and billions of dollars backing us up. Okay, Lisa. Lisa says, yeah, but she's the only one that talked about his death in the horrible way she did. Yeah, because even though some of them might not say it, a lot of them, like Charlemagne the God, who is um, Wendy Williams is his mentor. I'm sure he feels the same way about people on YouTube and people on TikTok. He's not going to say it because he's not as vocal as she is. He holds his tongue. Wendy Williams never holds her tongue. She always gets herself into hot water and always gets herself into shit. She used to do this back in the day with Whitney Houston. She did it with Mariah. She got into trouble a lot of times. But the difference now is now in 2021 when it comes to social media and YouTube influencers and TikTokers and everything, and whether it's entertainment, whether it's news, whether it's sports. Stephen A. Smith got himself into trouble um, recently too. So no matter really what it is, when it comes to traditional media, television, and radio that's already been established for decades, the ball is in our court. Social media influencers. Oh, wow. Lisa says what makes it even worse is that Swavy is almost the same age as Wendy's son. Yeah, but okay, Lisa, that's true. That does make it even worse. Her son is 20 and Swavy was 19. But what I'm saying is her dismissive attitude, as if Swavy's life didn't even really matter. And the ball is in the court of of social media influencers, YouTubers and TikTokers. The ball is not in the court of traditional media. I said it in my 2010s video. Nobody really watches television anymore. Television is going to be a thing of the past. People watch YouTube, people watch TikTok, people be on social media. Television is the radio, forget it. Radio is a dead medium. Television is almost dead. So it could have been a jealousy. I feel like it could have been a jealousy thing with Wendy and this young man, where because you could see it. Why would she mention her? Why would she mention her followers compared to him? The young man just died. You know what I mean? That'd be like someone saying when Nipsey Hussle passed away. Oh, someone like Drake or something saying, "Oh well, I don't even know who the hell Nipsey Hussle even was. Who cares? I sold more records than him anyway." Why would you compare your social media following to his social media following? He was a social media influencer. He started on social media. Most of his fans are on TikTok. You have a big platform. What are you jealous much? You mad, sis? You know what I mean? You mad because a social media person has a bigger following and a bigger platform than you, and they are mourning him. Let his fans, let the people that he touched in his life mourn him. Don't step on their toes. So what, you didn't know who he was? I'll be perfectly honest with you. I didn't in 2019 when Nipsey Hussle passed away. I didn't know who he was, but I paid him respect anyway because he's still a human being. He's still a person, and he could have been my family member. And the fact that Lisa is saying that this young man was the same age as Wendy's son is even more telling. You don't know who he is. Use your platform, the mega platform that you have on television, to speak against gun violence instead of gossiping and spreading negativity in your hot topic show. This is why a lot of people don't really like Wendy Williams. People say that Wendy Williams is trash television because it is. You disrespect the dead, you talk crap about people, and then when people call you out on your crap, you back out and say, you either back out and say nothing, like in this case, or you back out and you continue to talk crap, and you back out like a chump, like when Whitney Houston confronted her back on the radio back in the day. Swavy's fans confronted Wendy Williams. And what did Wendy say? Wendy didn't respond with anything. She completely ignored it. She could have apologized. Yes, you made a mistake. It takes more of a man and a woman to admit they made a mistake than, um, just to ignore it and let it fly. Come on here, or come on here, but go on TV and say, "Listen, I'm sorry, I didn't know who Swavy was. My comments about comparing his likes to mine, it was completely inappropriate, and I apologize to." Lisa says Wendy has been in the news a lot lately for a while. She called death to Britney Spears' parents. Wow, that is insane. And she's been flirting with her guests. Flirting, I mean, I don't see any harm in that. We said flirting, so what? You know what I mean? Like, she's not married, but calling death to Whitney Houston, I mean, Britney Spears' parents, rather, that's really inappropriate. I mean, Britney Spears' parents, especially her dad, is a piece of garbage because of what she did, what he did with her with the conservatorship and stuff. And I have a video on it in my archives. But uh, don't calling death on them is inappropriate. Nobody deserves to die. They don't deserve to die because of it. They deserve not to be in charge of for finances, that conservatorship, that's for sure, but they don't deserve to die. I mean, I think Wendy Williams is trying to be like the old school Wendy Williams, like she was back on the radio, but we live in a different time now where people will call you out on BS. It's not like back in the 90s where people really didn't care. You know, now in 2021, they will call you out if you say some inappropriate stuff, and they will drag you through the mud on Twitter. We live in a cancel culture world. Now you can say, yeah, you would think that, Lisa. Lisa, you would think she would learn. Yeah, but okay, from the beginning, Lisa, she's always tried to be the female Howard Stern. But the difference with Howard Stern is Howard Stern um, has said some inappropriate shit over the years, like the stuff he said when Selena first died. That he said Selena sucks. The Hispanic community called him out for. So he's done stuff like this, himself. But he's mellowed out over the years. Yeah, when Selena first died, Lisa, he did the exact same thing that Wendy Williams did with Swavy. He said he had Robin Quivers, his co-host, play some of Selena's music, and as they were out there in the vigil in 1995, he quote unquote said that her music sucks, and what he hates about Spanish music is it has no rhythm. And he was completely dismissive of it. Star and Buck Wild was another one that they got in trouble with the Aaliyah thing when they made the plane crash sound the day after she died. So Wendy Williams has never done, in my knowledge, to my knowledge anyway, anything this bad, this egregious. But she said some personal stuff about Diddy, calling him gay. She said stuff about Pepper and Trench's relationship back in the day in Salt and Pepper. Of course, the Whitney Houston thing. So she wants to just shock people. She comes from an era. See, back in the 90s, when she was on the radio and when Howard Stern was on the radio, um, 90s and early 2000s. In those days, radio was starting to fade away from the consciousness because you had talk shows like TRL, you had talk shows like 106 in Park. People didn't really listen to the radio for the people that talk as much as they once did. You know what I mean? So what emerged then, I know Lisa hates it when I get into these history talks. Some people like it, some people hate it. But anyway, what emerged at that time was the shock jock, the people that would shock, say things shocking like, "Oh my God, I can't believe he said that," or she. It started with Don Imus, and then Howard Stern took it over in the early '90s, and then Wendy Williams started was the first really to do it on black radio, urban radio, and the basic gist of it, the way to do it was like they would shock people, they would get people upset, they would get under people's skins, and they were the original trolls, and they would say shocking things like the shock jock. Oh my God, I can't believe they said that. Rush Limbaugh used to do it with just politics. He started this. Was the way that he was one of the early pioneers too, like Wendy and Howard Stern and Don Imus. Um, this was the way that people would um, would get people to start listening to the radio again. You know what I mean? Because by then, but right, Lisa, but they don't know where to draw the line. They've all these people that I'm talking about got into trouble with this because they their way of shocking people is being utterly disrespectful, hateful, mean, sometimes bigoted, and getting people to talk about them. This is people are this still exists even on social media. Um, there are people today that are the descendants of the Wendy Williamses, the Rush Limbaughs, the Howard Sterns, and the Don Imuses of the world on YouTube. People that just say racist, outright disrespectful shit, sexist shit, homophobic shit, just because they want to get views and they want people to speak about them. This takes no talent. This is completely low brow and low class, but this is how they get people to talk about them. People on television, this was never a thing. There was never a thing on television ever where there was people like Wendy before, or people kind of like that. Television was always really censored, more censored than social media, more censored than radio. Television, throughout the history of television, has always been really censored. You couldn't ever, and you can't now, on television say stuff that is disrespectful, stuff that is racist, outright blatantly racist, stuff that is outright blatantly sexist, outrightly homophobic. Never could you get away with that on television. Maybe a little bit in the 70s. I take that back a little bit in the 70s, like the George Jeffersons or the Archies of the world. But even they weren't like they were speaking as a character. They weren't speaking as themselves. Lisa says, I mean, DMX didn't want to go on Wendy Williams' show because, of course, he didn't. Lisa, think about it. Why would he want to go on Wendy Williams' show? The first thing she was going to talk about was his drug use. She was going to mock him and make fun of him for his drug use, which is something Wendy Williams shouldn't even be talking about because you shouldn't throw stones if you live in a glass house. Because what you notice with all these people, Wendy included, they all have these skeletons. Wendy Williams, known for using drugs. Um, Rush Limbaugh was addicted to Oxycontin. Howard Stern, 4 or 5 different marriages and is in therapy. Um, Don Imus was a pervert. Star from Star and Buck, I don't know anything really about him. You know, I just know that he's another disrespectful troll that got fired from all his jobs. You know, so these people, Wendy Williams included, they're not real reporters. They're not real insightful people. All they do is make fun of people and mock people and be mean spirited. Go back and look at what I said on Rush Limbaugh. Same thing. Um, they call it being a shock jock, but really they're just insensitive people and mean spirited people and people you would not want to be around. You know, the best kind of people, the best kind of reporters are the kinds of reporters that when they are speaking to you, it feels like they're speaking to a friend, like Angie Martinez. This is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. In contrast to Wendy Williams, Angie Marr never never disrespected anybody, never gossiped about people, never said hateful, homophobic, bigoted stuff, never insulted anybody, never talked about anybody behind his or her back. Always when celebrities would come on her show, she would speak to them as if she was a friend to them, a sister to them, a mother to them if they was younger. And you love listening to her show. Right, that exactly. That's what I was saying earlier. Lisa. Um, that people in TV, they don't feel like social media famous people are real famous people. You know what I mean? Like, if you go up to Wendy or Sean Hannity, right, or somebody like that, and you say, "Well, there's a lot of there's a lot of famous people on the internet, you know, famous YouTubers and famous influencers online, you know," and you show them, they will act like the people that you're talking about as nobodies. You know, oh, who the hell's that? You know, like, you know, that's how they look at it. Because to them, if you're not on TV, you ain't a real star. Not knowing that they're dinosaurs. You know, their medium, television medium, is a dying medium and won't be around in 20, 30 years. Nobody will care about it. Nobody cares about it now. Lisa said that a lot of people are, yes, but it's, I like Angie too. She's tremendous. Um, she's a perfect contrast to Wendy's and energy. But it's funny because what Wendy did to Swavy, somebody who's a real icon in television, like Oprah Winfrey, could have easily done to Wendy. Oprah Winfrey could sit there and say, especially maybe not now, but especially when Wendy first came out, well, who the hell is Wendy Williams? I don't know who that is. You know, so you want to be dismissive because you have a bigger platform, but somebody could be just as dismissive to you as you are to someone. And nobody in the talk show world has a bigger platform than Oprah Winfrey. She has her own network. So there's nobody that could compete with that. You know, Oprah Winfrey is here and Wendy Williams is here. You know, you know. People are calling for it to be canceled. I don't know. I guess I would call for it to be canceled because it sucks, not because you know, not because of what she said to Swavy, but obviously it should be canceled because of what she said to Swavy. You know, about Swavy. Not, I mean, because this guy family he just passed away, and that's what I'm saying. You have examples of of people that interview. Why did, like I said, Angie Martinez? Why did she go so far? Why did Oprah Winfrey become the star that she became? Because when she interviews people, maybe her private life, but when she's not so great a person in her private life as she's been exposed. But when she interviews people, she made them feel at home. She made them feel like they could vent to her. She didn't talk crap about people or gossip about people. And that's what Wendy's bread and butter is gossiping, insulting, and being a shock jock from her radio days. And that time has that era is gone. Don Imus has passed away. Howard Stern is no longer on public airwaves. Wendy Williams is on her TV show that they're calling to cancel, and Rush Limbaugh is dead too. And Star and Buck Wild are no longer on the radio either. So that era of being a shock jock that was in the late '80s, early '90s, that's gone. You know what I mean? We live in a cancel culture world where you have to be careful and you have to say what you have to say diplomatically. I speak about it in a lot of videos, and sometimes I'm against that. You know, especially when it comes to political speech. But when it comes to a person dying, the person passing away, and a victim of gun violence like this young man, it was completely inappropriate, and Wendy should apologize. But I don't even know at this point. What do you think, Lisa? Do you think at this point an apology will even be good or good enough? I think an apology is not gonna cut it. You know, like right. She should apologize. But that may not even please people because it will come off as insincere. She'll come off as she's just doing it because she got called out. You know what I mean? Like they'll say, "Oh well, she didn't really mean it anyway." Yes, she should apologize. And he was a huge icon in the TikTok community. And TikTok is big with the kids. Not knowing about who this kid was, showing how out of touch Wendy Williams is with the world. It's showing how old she is. She wanted to remain hip and contemporary. She would have done her research on the kid. But I feel like she's kind of like Trump in a way. She kind of feels like apologies are a sign of weakness rather than a sign of strength. So I feel like if she in her mind, if she apologizes, that will show her backing down. That will show her punking out, and she's not that type of person. She actually never. I don't. She never, to my knowledge, apologized for any of the messed up stuff that she's ever said about any other celebrity. You know what I mean? So, I think maybe Fox would make her do the apology. You know, they may make her do they may force her to do the apology, especially if her ratings start to dip. Then they will, people may not cancel her officially, but they'll cancel her with they'll vote with their remotes. And they'll be like, oh well, there's something else I could watch. Especially if he had a huge female following. If the young man had a huge female following, and her following is primarily female. Okay, a fake apology, but I mean a real heartfelt, real apology. So I don't ever recall her doing an apology, a real apology about anything she's ever said. Only fake for publicity. The producers probably forced her to do that. If her ratings start to dip because he had a huge female following, and she is a primarily female following, and the female following starts to turn away from her because of what she said, and they start to watch other things on television, or not watch television at all, watch other stuff. I feel like she will fake apology just because excuse me, she don't want to lose her show. You know, especially with African American Black Twitter, it's a very powerful political tool. Because if you get canceled on Black Twitter, that's the end of you. You know what I mean. You know, that's the end of you when you get canceled on Black Twitter because Black Twitter be out there. You know what I mean? They're paying attention to every little comment, and they'll start a whole campaign to cancel you. You saw the reactions to Meghan McCain. The reactions to Meghan McCain, the stuff Meghan McCain was saying, got Meghan McCain kicked off the View. Why? Because people stopped tuning in. And when they stop tuning in, boom, there goes the ratings. And when the ratings start to take a dip, the producers say, "Hey, we got to make a change. We want to. We're about that bread. We're about that money. You can't be causing. You can't be, causing us to lose money, to lose sponsors. You know what I mean? So if we had to get rid of Megan McCain, that's what we'll do. So if it happens with Wendy, the same thing. You know, she'll be saying how you doing on the unemployment line because somebody like Wendy won't humble herself to go on social media and just to start a social media account, and nobody will mess with her either if she does get canceled or show gets canceled. They can easily put somebody else in her spot. Hell, they could put Nick Cannon in her spot. They could put Nick Cannon in her spot with a Nick Cannon show. I know a lot of women are upset with Nick, kind of, because he's having all these illegitimate children, and some women feel like it's a double standard. But I do remember when a couple times she was absent, and Nick hosted her show, and it got a lot of ratings when Nick hosted. And Nick is up on things. Nick is social media savvy. He's smarter. He's a lot funnier. So they could put him in her spot. You know, or there's so many others. I always wonder why Angie uh, never had a television show. Like she seemed perfect for TV more than Wendy. You know, what I mean? I know, Power does the videos now. High 97 does them too. Yeah, see the there you go, Lisa. Nick Cannon's actually gonna have a talk show on Fox 5 in September. Why? Because of what he said last year about the Jewish people, right? He completely apologized for that. Right or wrong or indifferent, he humbled himself as a man and apologized for what he said about the Jewish people. And not only did he do that, he went out of his way to take classes from a rabbi and learn about the Jewish religion, the Jewish faith, the Jewish experience. And he took time to educate himself on why what he said was messed up. So that would be the same thing like Wendy Williams um, would have to do. Educate herself on why people love Swavy, why they felt disrespected, who this young man is, and what he meant to people. Because, like I said, when Tupac and Biggie died, a lot of people, older generation people, they didn't really understand, well, why we, the young people, took the deaths of Biggie and Tupac so hard. Same thing when Triple X XXXTentacion died. A lot of people were like, well, I didn't know who Triple XXXTentacion really was, but I know he had an impact on the young people. He had an impact on the kids, so he meant something. But the point is, Nick Cannon took the time to understand why what he said about the Jewish people was offensive, and he took his time to educate himself on the Jewish faith and religion and the Jewish experience. That's what Wendy could do, and be humble about it and say, you know what, this kid meant a lot to the people, and even if he didn't mean anything to people, he's still a young man that died, and he's still around her son's age. But ultimately, I think she will do a fake apology. Wow, our mother just died. Okay. That makes it even worse. I think she will do a fake apology, Lisa, just to save her own butt. But if she don't, that's the end of her. Goodbye, goodbye, Wendy. Anyway, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Lisa, thank you for contributing. And hit the bell button to see when my next video is coming out. Love ya.